Fat, black, and ugly in Times Square is wild. Like, they really think we're a joke. Like, that big behind, 12-foot, overweight black woman in the middle of Times Square, that is what they chose to represent us.
Because the way some of y'all are literally crashing out because it is an average sized woman in bronze. Like, are we okay? Speaking specifically to black people, are we okay? Like, we do know that the average size woman is a size 14 in this country.
But I'm not shocked by the whole New York statue thing, because literally anytime there's a beautiful black model, they shave her head. These magazines, like, they just, like, I swear, they just don't want black women to be pretty. Like, I don't know, they just don't like to push that out. Like, even in fucking shows, like, go watch some movies and you'll see it. They really love to push a specific narrative of what black women look like. Before people say, like, well, this looks like a bunch of y'all's aunties and, like, all that, white women and Hispanic women are big too. But they're not going to make them look weird in movies, in modeling, statues. They always look good.
I don't understand what's the problem. Y'all talking about her? She look like your mother. She look like your mother, your aunties, your cousins, your nieces. Any black woman in your family, she look like me. I am very happy that she's there. She's 12 feet tall. She's very intimidating. When you walk by her, you just gotta respect her. You don't laugh at her. They see us. She's us. And she's black. And she's tired.
I'm sorry, but that Times Square statue of that black lady that they just posted, the 12-foot statue, if you haven't seen it, just Google 12-foot statue black woman in Times Square. Hard no. Y'all could have put this lady in a cap and gown. Y'all could have put this lady in scrubs. Y'all could have put this lady in a beautiful dress. African attire. I don't know. You could, and then you gave her a braided bob. You should have put some bohemian, like, extra small knotless, like, what? No, that's not the representation that I see of, you know what I mean? Like, I know people may look like that, but you could have put us a little bit more, you know. I'm not liking that statue at all. Not at all.
I hate to say it, but some people are just book smart. You know what that means? You can read a book, memorize the text, but you lack common sense and discernment. Some of you don't even know when people are laughing at you and not with you. So the ones that feel honored of this big black 12-foot mammy statue in the middle of Times Square, I'm gonna need for some of you to jump off the plantation porch, because that was clearly an insult.
The problem isn't that the statue is ugly. The problem is that when they make statues of white people, they don't put them in their house clothes. How is that not the first obvious thing that's wrong with the statue? I actually haven't seen people saying that it's ugly. I've seen a lot of people complaining about the fact that she's in her house clothes in the middle of Times Square as a statue, which is weird. When you see statues of people, when you see people immortalized in stone or whatever the hell they make statues out of these days, do you see them just dressed up regular how you would see them every single... No, you don't. That's not how statues work. It is weird to automatically, now that we're doing a statue of a black woman, oh, let's just make a regular black woman. Let's make her look like every... That's weird. And nobody's going to feel like they're crazy for thinking it's weird that they made a statue of a black woman in the middle of Times Square and put her in house clothes. It's okay to be offended by that because it's offensive. And you're not saying that black women are ugly by saying that it's weird for there to be a statue of a black woman in the middle of Times Square and for it to look so fucking regular. That's not what you make statues for. And again, my original point, I will point out, when you see statues of other people from other communities, do they look regular? No, they fucking don't.
So I just wanted to get on here today and just have a chill, casual girl chat about something that's been on my mind. So if you guys don't know, they just put up a big 12-foot statue of very clearly a black woman up in Times Square in New York City, one of the most heavy, like, foot traffic heavy places, honestly, I feel like on earth. I don't know the exact stats on that, but I would venture to guess. It's May, it's the beginning of tourist season, like everywhere in the world, like it's about to be summer. Times Square is like hugely popular with tourists from around the world. everyone basically goes to Times Square whenever they visit New York. And the discourse on this statue actually has been very interesting to me because I'm not on TikTok like that, but I do have it and I use it for like research purposes. So I did go on there to see what people were saying about the statue. So honestly, I feel like, and I only cared about the opinions of Black women specifically. Anyone else, it didn't matter because the statue was not of their supposed likeness. So it was mixed. Some Black women were like, this statue is very accurate. It represents me. It represents my mom, my sisters, my aunts, my cousins, whoever. Like, this is, a good representation. And some Black women were like, no, like, this is not it. This is embarrassing. They're trying to drag us. They're trying to make fun of us. Some girl said, like, Black women really need to start realizing when people are laughing at you and not with you and trying to tear your image down on purpose. So honestly, for me, like, that statue doesn't represent me personally. Like, I don't look like that. I'm not tall. I'm not on the bigger, heavier side. I don't look like I have an attitude on my face. I don't stand like that. But, I feel like it really, at this point, I used to be of the mindset that like, oh, like all Black women like have to be the same. Like, we all have to be thin, like we all have to represent ourselves well, we all can't have an attitude. But then I realized that is just completely and wholly unrealistic. Like, people are going to be the way that they're going to be, regardless of how you want them to be. One point that was brought up was that, like, what's so wrong about the statue? Like, why do you guys like hate average looking Black women so much? Like, this is what most Black women look like. And honestly, yeah, in my everyday life, when I go outside, like, most Black women actually do look like that statue. So I have no issue with the representation of average looking Black women. That's not the problem. I think people who, had a negative opinion of that statue being put up is that typically that is, Black women's only representation in the broader landscape of media, of art, of anything. And I don't know, for me, I thought it was kind of interesting how they chose to, put up that artist's work at the beginning of tourist season. It's allegedly supposed to be up until June 17th, so like about a month, in one of the most foot traffic heavy places in the United States, for sure, on earth, in the United States' most populated city. And they know that Times Square is a tourist heavy spot. They know that people from all over the world, mostly not even American people, like, I'm pretty sure people that live in New York, if they actually live here, they don't go to Times Square. It's mostly tourists who are going there, and they know that. So they want that to be the representation of Black women for people who are visiting America, maybe for the first time visiting New York, who don't really encounter Black women on a day-to-day basis. And this artist, I'm not even going to say his name because I don't want to give him recognition, but he is biracial. He's half Black, half white, white on his mother's side, and I'm assuming Black on his father's side. And he is British. He's from the UK, so he's not even American. And this man has a collection of statues, actually, in his art collection that he made, these sculptures. And he has, sculptures of the same height, stature, very similar, of Black men as well. But I just thought it was interesting how, the one of the Black woman who's on the bigger side, who apparently her statue, she's not wearing a bra, she looks like she has an attitude on her face. I thought it was interesting how that was the statue that was chosen to be displayed at Times Square. And I looked into it. The people responsible for putting up art in Times Square in that area, like the director of like Times Square Art, I believe it's called, she is a white woman. So I also found that pretty interesting. And, personally, I'm not offended by the statue because I don't look like the statue. I don't see myself that way. I don't look that way. And I doubt that people look at me that way. And that's not a good or bad thing. That's just the truth, and that's just reality. So I was going to say something else about the artist. Oh yeah, he put up other statues of Black women in other places around the world. I believe there's one in the UK, like in London. There's one in Italy, somewhere in Italy, and there's one in the Netherlands, and they're all statues of Black women. But I did see his collection. He has statues of black men as well. And some people online were saying like, oh, like this is, a way for people to put a target on black women's back, especially, they know that black women are in their era of rest after everything that happened in November. And, black women are sitting out of everything that's going on, like politically and everything. And somebody said like, oh, this is a way to, put black women back on the front lines. And I find that hard to disagree with. Honestly, that is one of the first things I thought of. I was like, oh, the second that collectively black women decide to take a seat back and, not really engage with everything that's going on, the second that happens, somebody wants to be like, nope, you're going to be here, and whether you like it or not, we're going to make you the face of this. And also, that statue, I think the artist himself said the main reason why he put that statue there was to directly oppose the statues of two historical white male figures that were in that same area of Times Square. So, I mean, even with that fact, just then I feel like that kind of solidifies the whole, like, they're trying to put black women back on the front lines, which I think is very insidious. I think it's evil, and I think it's just downright disrespectful. Like, if somebody says they want to, rest and sit back and not engage, you let them do that. I think for that reason alone, I believe that the statue is wrong. In terms of representation, like I said, and like I keep saying, that statue doesn't represent me. So I don't take personal offense to the way it looks. I've seen a lot of black women look that way. I don't think there's anything wrong. Personally, I do think that there is a health crisis overall in America, first of all. But I'm black, and a woman, so I care about black women's health specifically and only. So I think there is definitely an issue there. But I think that's more than just a food issue. It's definitely a mental health crisis, in my opinion. So yeah, I don't know what else to say about that, but I guess this video was just to encourage you to be your own representation. You get treated the way people view you, and I'm not someone that likes to live in a fantasy. Like, if I go out in dirty sweatpants, a raggedy t-shirt, and with, no makeup on, and I just look kind of unkempt, like, people are going to treat you a certain way. And it's not about respectability politics. It's just about, presenting yourself the way you want to be treated. Everyone makes assumptions about people, regardless of race. Like, if I see someone who's non-black and they look, disheveled, I'm going to not have a very positive opinion of them. So that's just my thing. But if you guys have opinions on this, you want to comment, definitely start a discussion down below. I'd love to hear everyone's opinion on this because I have noticed that it's kind of split. So yeah, tell me what you think.